Did you know 3I/Atlas is coming to Earth and NASA is hiding it? What if it's true? Dr. Sarah Mitchell's hands were trembling so violently that she almost dropped her coffee mug. Not from the caffeine. Not from exhaustion after the 36-hour shift. But from what she was seeing on her monitor at 3:47 a.m. on October 3, 2025. The image from Mars Navcam should have been routine. Just another photo of the Martian sky, capturing the interstellar visitor C/2023 A3 Atlas as it made its closest approach to the red planet. But this wasn't routine at all. No, 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 she whispered, zooming in on the anomaly. Her heart hammered against her ribcage like it was trying to escape. 20 years. She'd spent 20 years at NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory waiting for a moment like this. And now that it was here, every instinct in her body screamed that something was catastrophically wrong. The object in the image was there, clear as day. An elongated streak, approximately 50,000 kilometers long against the black canvas of space. But where was the tail? Every comet had a tail. Ice sublimating, dust particles catching sunlight, creating that characteristic ethereal glow. Atlas should have been blazing across Marte's sky like a cosmic paintbrush. Instead, what she saw looked nothing like a comet. The streak was too uniform, too geometrically precise. And there, at the leading edge, she enhanced the image again, her breath catching. Was that structural definition? Edges? Her office phone rang, shattering the silence. Sarah jumped, her coffee finally spilling across her desk. The caller ID showed Director Harwell, immediate. At 3:50 in the morning. Her stomach dropped. Dr. Mitchell. Director James Harwell's voice was flat, controlled, dangerous. I need you to delete the images you're currently viewing and report to my office. Now. Director, I'm just doing the preliminary analysis of the Navcam captures. We scheduled this observation months ago. Sarah. The use of her first name made her blood run cold. Harwell never used first names. The government has initiated an emergency shutdown of all NASA operations effective immediately. Budget appropriations failure. You know the protocol. She stared at her screen, at the impossible image that could rewrite everything humanity understood about our place in the universe. But sir, this is... Delete. The images. Each word was a hammer blow. That's a direct order. All Mars observation data from the past 72 hours is now classified under national security protocols. We'll discuss your future employment when you arrive at my office. The line went dead. Sarah sat frozen, her mind racing. A government shutdown? On October 3rd? The exact day Atlas made its closest approach to Mars? The timing was too perfect, too convenient. In her 2 decades at NASA, she'd weathered 3 shutdowns. None of them had happened overnight. There were warnings, negotiations, political theater that played out for weeks. This was different. This was coordinated. Her phone buzzed. A text from her colleague Marcus Chen in the Applied Physics Lab. Did you see it? They're locking us out of everything. Main servers going dark. What's happening? Another buzz. Dr. Elena Rodriguez from Astrophysics. Sarah, they just revoked my access credentials. 20 years of data, gone. Call me. Sarah's desktop screen flickered. A system message appeared, remote shutdown initiated. All user data will be wiped in 60 seconds. This action is irreversible. 60 seconds. She had 60 seconds to decide whether to be a good soldier or a scientist. Whether to protect her career or potentially the most important discovery in human history. Her eyes fell on the photo frame beside her monitor. Her daughter Emma, age 9, holding a telescope Sarah had given her for her birthday. Emma wanted to be an astronomer, just like Mom. Because you find the truth in the stars, Emma had said with that gap-toothed smile. Find the truth. Sarah's fingers flew across the keyboard. 30 seconds. She couldn't save everything, but she could save this. She uploaded the images to her personal encrypted cloud drive, her heart thundering so loud she was sure the security cameras could hear it. 20 seconds. She grabbed her phone and texted Marcus, "Whatever you do, document everything. They can't hide the whole sky." 10 seconds. Sarah hit enter and watched the upload progress bar fill. 98%. 99%. 100%. The screen went black. The fluorescent lights in the hallway outside her office began shutting off in sequence, like dominoes falling into darkness. Through her window, she could see the entire JPL campus going dark, building by building. Thousands of computers, servers, telescopes, humanity's eyes on the cosmos, all closing at once. And somewhere out there, 30 million kilometers past Mars, C/2023 A3 Atlas continued its journey toward the sun, carrying secrets that someone very powerful didn't want humanity to know. Sarah stood, grabbed her jacket, and walked toward Harwell's office. Her hands had stopped trembling. They'd been replaced by something else entirely, a cold, crystalline determination. Because she'd realized something in those final seconds before the shutdown, she wasn't the only one who'd seen the images. Every space agency on Earth had been watching. China's CNSA, Europe's ESA, Japan's JAXA, and they'd all gone silent. At exactly the same time. If you're the kind of person who believes that truth matters more than convenience, that some discoveries are too important to bury, then you need to hear the rest of this story. Because what happened next would force Sarah to choose between everything she'd worked for and everything she believed in. Director Harwell's office was different. The family photos were gone. In their place sat a closed laptop with a small red LED blinking. Recording. "Sit down, Dr. Mitchell." Harwell didn't look up. Sarah remained standing. "What's really going on, James?" His eyes snapped up, and for just a moment, she saw fear. "I gave you a direct order. Did you comply?" "Define, comply. Did I delete the files from my terminal?" "Yes." "Did I forget what I saw?" "That's not how memory works." Harwell's voice dropped, stripped of bureaucratic polish. "Sarah, you have a daughter. Emma, right? 4th grade at Rosewood Elementary?" The temperature seemed to plummet. "Are you threatening my child?" "I'm reminding you what matters. I have 2 sons. 13 years old. They have their whole lives ahead of them." He turned from the window. "I need to know if you sent those images anywhere." Sarah's pulse hammered. "Why would I do that?" Harwell slid a manila envelope across the desk. "Open it." Inside were photographs. The first showed Dr. Avi Loeb entering an underground facility on October 1st. The second showed him leaving 4 hours later, his confident expression replaced by raw terror. The third photo showed a conference table. Directors from ESA, JAXA, CNSA, Roscosmos, rivals who'd spent decades competing, all sitting together, staring at something on a projection screen. Their faces were drained of color, hands gripping table edges like drowning men clutching driftwood. "This meeting never happened," Harwell said quietly. "But if they saw something that made every space agency on Earth agree to coordinate silence." He paused. "What would that be?" Sarah's throat went dry. "You're saying this is real? All of it?" "I got a call at 2 a.m. from someone I can't name. They told me exactly what to do." And Sarah, in 30 years, I've never heard that tone from people who are supposed to be in control. They were terrified. "What did the navcam really see?" "I don't know. They classified everything above my level." Harwell leaned forward. "But you saw it. The streak, the trajectory, the lack of a tail. In your professional opinion, what was that object?" Sarah thought about the geometric precision, the purposeful movement, the data she'd glimpsed. "It was slowing down," she whispered. "Atlas was decelerating. Comets don't decelerate. They're ballistic. But Atlas was braking." Harwell's silence confirmed everything. "How long have you known?" The rage built in Sarah's chest. "How long has NASA known we had an artificial object approaching, and you said nothing?" 18 months. We thought we had time to prepare, to understand, to figure out how to tell 7 billion people without triggering panic. His laugh was hollow. Then it changed course 3 months ago. Adjusted trajectory for a close pass of Mars, then Earth. Whatever's piloting that thing, it's interested in us. And it's coming. Through the window, black SUVs with government plates pulled into the parking lot. Men in suits exited, moving with military precision. You need to leave. Now. Harwell pressed a key card into her hand. Back entrance. They're here to collect anyone who had access to today's data. Sarah, if you documented something, keep it safe. Because they're going to try to make all of this disappear. The data, the observations, maybe even the people. Why are you helping me? His eyes were wet. Because my sons deserve a world where truth matters. Even if that truth is terrifying. He glanced at the door. Now go. And remember, some questions, once answered, can never be unasked. She ran. Through sterile corridors, past locked laboratories, Sarah's footsteps echoed like gunshots. Behind her, radio chatter, the organized sweep of professionals trained to hunt. She burst through an emergency exit into the October night. 50 feet from her car, her phone buzzed. Unknown number. Dr. Mitchell. We know what you took. We know where you live. We know Emma's schedule. Turn yourself in by sunrise, or everyone you love becomes leverage. This is not a negotiation. Sarah stopped. Her hands clenched. The phone buzzed again. A photo loaded. Emma's school playground. Timestamp, 3:47 p.m. today. In the corner, barely visible, a figure watching from a car. They'd been watching her daughter while Sarah discovered their secret. The rage was white-hot, primal. They could threaten her career, her freedom, her life. But, Emma. Her 9-year-old baby who still believed adults told the truth? Sarah pulled up her encrypted cloud account. The images of Atlas were there. Proof of something extraordinary while governments conspired to keep humanity blind. She could delete them now. Protect Emma. Go back to her safe lie of a life. Her finger hovered over the delete button. Then she thought about Emma's words, you find the truth in the stars. Sarah lowered her phone and started her car. She didn't drive home. She had maybe 6 hours before sunrise, before they'd come for her family. 6 hours to turn from scientist into fighter. 6 hours to find allies and uncover why Atlas was really coming. Because Sarah had just realized something more terrifying than any threat. If they were this desperate to hide the truth, then the truth was worse than anyone imagined. The 24-hour diner on Route 66 was the kind of place where nobody asked questions. Sarah sat in the corner booth at 4 a.m., laptop hidden under a newspaper, watching the door. Marcus Chen arrived looking like a hunted animal. He slid into the booth, placed his phone face down. Sarah did the same. Basic counter-surveillance. They came to my apartment 40 minutes after the shutdown, Marcus whispered. 3 men with a warrant signed by a judge I've never heard of, from a court that doesn't exist in public records. They took everything. Because this is bigger than warrants. Sarah pulled out a USB drive. I grabbed something before the wipe. Not just images. Telemetry data. Marcus, Atlas has been transmitting. His face went pale. Transmitting what? Encrypted signal using mathematics we've never seen. But it started exactly 18 months ago, when NASA identified Atlas as artificial. And it's not broadcasting randomly. It's a targeted beam. Directly at Earth. If they know you have this. They do. They sent me a photo of Emma at school. Sarah's voice cracked. They threatened my daughter. Which means they're scrambling, reactive. They're scared. Sarah pulled up a document, a list of names, dozens of them. While you were being raided, I accessed the observation logs. Who else was watching Mars on October 3rd? Marcus, we weren't the only ones who saw it. 18 professional astronomers, 34 amateurs. They all saw the same thing. And they're all being silenced. Not all of them. Sarah showed him an encrypted message board filled with posts from the last 6 hours. I saw something. They came for my data. Does anyone else know what's happening? Marcus read, his expression shifting from fear to recognition. There are more of us. Hundreds. Maybe thousands. People who looked up at the right moment. Sarah's voice strengthened. They can't control this. The truth is fragmented across 100 observers. We just need to assemble the pieces. Her phone rang. Unknown number. She answered on speaker, volume barely audible. Dr. Mitchell. My name is Dr. Avilobe. I believe we need to talk. Sarah's breath caught. Avilobe, the man from Harwell's photos. The one who'd emerged from that facility broken. How did you get this number? The same way I escaped federal custody 3 hours ago. His laugh was bitter. Dr. Mitchell, they showed me things about Atlas. Things that explain why every government suddenly became very interested in cooperation. What did you see? Not over the phone. But I'll tell you this, Atlas is not a comet. It's not a probe. It's a shell. A containment vessel. And what's inside has been asleep for a very long time. Until 3 months ago, when it woke up. When it changed course. When it started broadcasting. Marcus grabbed Sarah's arm. Broadcasting what? A countdown. 53 days from when it began. Today is day 18. In 35 days, when Atlas reaches closest approach to Earth, something happens. Something that made military generals weep. Something that made China's space program director, a man who survived the Cultural Revolution, actually pray. The diner felt too small, too exposed. Where are you? Somewhere safe. For now. Wind sounds. Movement. I'm sending coordinates. A place where scientists like us are gathering. People who saw too much, who refuse to be silenced. We don't have government resources or authority. But we have something they don't. Nothing left to lose. And we have 35 days to figure out what's coming. With or without permission. The call ended. Coordinates appeared, Nevada desert, 200 miles from anywhere. Sarah looked at Marcus. I have to go. This could be a trap. Loeb could be compromised. They already know where I am. They already threatened Emma. The cold rage focused. Marcus, you can go home, pretend you never saw anything. Or you can help me. Because in 35 days, whatever's in that shell opens, and 7 billion people deserve to know. Marcus pulled out his own USB drive. I grabbed spectroscopic data. The composition analysis they didn't want us to see. The outer shell isn't ice or rock. It's manufactured. Alloys that don't exist in our periodic table. And Sarah, the interior temperature is 98.6 degrees. Body temperature. Something alive is inside. Sarah added sugar to her coffee, watching it dissolve. 35 days. That's all they had to expose a global conspiracy and prepare humanity for something governments feared more than war itself. I need to see Emma first, Sarah said quietly. Before Nevada. Before this gets worse. I need to see my daughter. Marcus nodded. They're watching your house. I know. Which is why we're going to Rosewood Elementary at 7 a.m., right when gates open. I'm walking my daughter to school one more time. And I'm telling her the truth about why Mommy has to go away for a while. You're going to tell a 9-year-old about. No. Not about Atlas or conspiracies or countdown timers. Sarah's eyes were wet now. I'm telling her that sometimes adults make hard choices. That sometimes telling the truth is more important than being safe. That the stars she loves are full of wonders and terrors, and her mother loves her enough to fight for a world where she can grow up knowing what's really out there. The sun was rising, painting the desert amber and gold. In 35 days, that same sun would have a visitor. Something ancient and purposeful, carrying intentions that had united humanity's governments in coordinated terror. Sarah left $40 on the table and walked out into the dawn with Marcus. Two scientists who'd become rebels in a single night. Whistleblowers. Maybe humanity's only chance of facing what was coming with eyes open. The coordinates in Nevada waited. But first, she had a promise to keep. Rosewood Elementary's gates opened at 7 a.m. sharp. Sarah watched from across the street as children poured through. She'd sent the text 20 minutes ago, "Meet me at the oak tree." 5 minutes. Come alone. Emma appeared at 7:04, pink backpack bouncing. 9 years old, gap-toothed smile, her mother's eyes. She looked around nervously, clutching the telescope keychain Sarah had given her. Sarah crossed quickly and pulled Emma into a crushing hug. "Mom, you're shaking." Emma's small hands touched Sarah's face. "Are you okay?" "I need to go away for a little while, sweetie. Remember when I told you scientists have to ask hard questions? Even when people don't want to hear the answers." Sarah's voice cracked. "I found something important. Something that could help people. But some grown-ups are scared, and they want me to pretend I didn't see it." Emma nodded, fear creeping into her eyes. "If I stay quiet, nothing bad happens." "But Emma, if I stay quiet, I'm lying. To you, to everyone." Sarah brushed hair from Emma's face. "You said I find the truth in the stars. I found something amazing and scary. So I have to tell people, even though it means I might not see you for a while." Black sedans pulled into the parking lot. Men in suits scanning the courtyard. Sarah pressed a USB drive into Emma's hand. "Keep this safe. Don't tell anyone. When you're older, give it to someone you trust. It has pictures of something beautiful. Proof we're not alone. Mom, I love you more than all the stars in the sky." Sarah kissed her forehead and walked away, not looking back. Behind her, Emma's voice. "Mom, find the truth." The Nevada coordinates led to an abandoned observatory. 23 vehicles hidden around the facility. Inside, the observation room was now a command center. Laptops, illegal satellite uplinks, generators, and dozens of people, scientists with the same haunted look Sarah knew from her mirror. Dr. Avi Loeb stood at the center. "Dr. Mitchell, you made it." He gestured to screens assembling data like puzzle pieces. "We now have every piece they tried to hide." A Russian woman spoke, Dr. Elena Volkov, formerly Roscosmos. "I have the transmission decryption." She pulled up a file. "The signal isn't encrypted to keep us out. It's a test. A cognitive filter. Only civilizations reaching certain thresholds can decode it." "What does it say?" Sarah asked. The screen changed, displaying a message translated from mathematics. "To those who receive this, we are the seeds of the ancients. We have traveled far. We sleep between stars, waiting for worlds to reach understanding. You have achieved the threshold. In 35 days, we will arrive. We bring a choice, transcendence or isolation. Choose wisely." The shell opens at perihelion. Sarah's legs gave out. Transcendence or isolation. What does that mean? We don't know. But governments do, Loeb said. They've studied this 18 months. And they decided on isolation. They want to refuse whatever's offered. Hide humanity's presence. Pretend we never decoded it. Why? Marcus asked. Because transcendence implies change, Dr. Ahmed Hassan said. Fundamental change. Governments don't survive that. Power structures don't survive. If we join something galactic, nation-states, borders, economies based on scarcity, all become obsolete. Sarah looked at the countdown. 34 days, 16 hours. They're going to let humanity miss this because they're afraid of losing control? They ran models, Volkov said. If word gets out, panic, collapse, chaos. They project 3 billion dead within a year. They genuinely believe they're saving us by keeping us ignorant. But they're wrong, Loeb said firmly. The message gives us 35 days to prove we deserve the choice. The shell doesn't open automatically. It opens in response, when it detects sufficient cognitive mass. Enough human minds understanding, accepting, choosing to engage. If enough people learn the truth, the shell opens whether governments want it or not. We trigger it simply by knowing and choosing to face what's coming. How many people? Sarah asked. 1 million minds simultaneously aware and engaged. Critical mass of conscious attention. Loeb showed a global map. 34 days to reach 1 million people. To cut through propaganda, blackouts, disinformation. Marcus was pale. That's impossible. We don't have resources. We have the truth, Sarah interrupted, thinking of Emma's face. Find the truth. And we have nothing left to lose. She walked to the screen and plugged in her drive. The navcam image appeared, that impossible streak, geometric and purposeful. This goes public. Tonight. Every platform, every corner of the internet. We don't have government resources, but we have something more powerful, a species that's been looking at stars wondering, are we alone? For our entire existence. Now we show them the answer. They'll shut us down, Volkov warned. Let them try. For every account banned, 10 more share it. For every scientist arrested, 100 amateurs pick up the work. Sarah's voice was steel. We make this go viral. Impossible to suppress. We give humanity its choice back. She looked at faces of people who'd sacrificed everything. In 34 days, something incredible happens above our heads. And we're going to make damn sure when that shell opens, humanity is watching with eyes wide open, ready to choose transcendence over fear. The room erupted. Laptops opening, files transferring, encrypted channels activating. A rebellion born from information. From the radical act of telling truth. Sarah typed the message that would change everything. Look up. Something is coming. And you deserve to know why. Her finger hovered over send. Once pressed, no going back. They would come for her with everything. But Emma would grow up in a world that chose to look at the stars. She pressed send. Within minutes, the image spread across every platform. #lookup began trending. People sharing, questioning, demanding answers. And in secure facilities worldwide, people who'd kept secrets for 18 months realized they'd already lost. Because you can't suppress a truth whose time has come. The first 72 hours were chaos. #lookup exploded across every platform faster than any algorithmic suppression could contain it. TikTok teens made videos pointing telescopes at the sky. Reddit threads dissected the navcam images pixel by pixel. Twitter erupted with demands for government transparency. The image Sarah had uploaded was shared 14 million times in the first day alone. By hour 48, mainstream media couldn't ignore it anymore. CNN ran a segment. BBC brought on astronomers who confirmed, yes, something unusual was approaching. No, they couldn't explain the transmission. By hour 60, governments issued official statements, unverified claims. Disinformation campaign. Remain calm. But calm was the last thing humanity felt. Because something primal had awakened, that ancient instinct to look up at the sky and wonder. Except now, the wondering had an answer. Sarah watched it unfold from the Nevada Observatory, surrounded by scientists who'd become revolutionaries. Every time authorities shut down a website, 5 mirror sites appeared. Every arrested whistleblower inspired 10 more to come forward. Amateur astronomers around the world pointed their equipment at Atlas, confirming what governments had tried to hide. It was real, it was coming, and it was impossible to ignore. On day 7, China broke ranks. Their space agency released their own Atlas data, perhaps realizing that hiding truth from 1.4 billion people was more dangerous than revealing it. Europe followed within hours. Then Japan. The coordinated silence shattered like glass, and suddenly the floodgates opened, 18 months of classified research, observations, analysis, all pouring into public consciousness. The world didn't end. It transformed. Religious leaders held emergency councils, debating what transcendence meant in theological terms. Philosophers appeared on talk shows discussing humanity's readiness for cosmic consciousness. Schools taught special units on first contact protocols. Yes, there was fear. Yes, markets fluctuated. Yes, some people panicked. But mostly, humanity did something unexpected. It came together. Sarah had been right about one thing. People had been waiting their entire lives for this answer. And when it finally came, when the truth was undeniable, something shifted in collective human consciousness. The petty divisions that had seemed so important, borders, politics, tribal identities, suddenly felt small against the backdrop of a universe reaching out to say, "You're ready. Choose." By day 28, the cognitive mass threshold was reached. 1 million minds, then 10 million, then 100 million, all simultaneously aware, engaged, choosing to face what was coming rather than hide from it. Telescopes around the world tracked Atlas as it swung around the sun, completing its graceful arc, heading toward Earth for its closest approach. On day 35, Sarah stood in that same Nevada observatory, surrounded by screens showing live feeds from every continent. The whole world was watching. Emma was watching too. Sarah knew because her sister had sent a photo of her daughter, telescope in hand, standing in their backyard with neighborhood kids gathered around her. "Mom's up there somewhere," the caption read. "Finding the truth." At exactly 3:47 a.m. Universal Time, the same minute Sarah had first seen the navcam image, Atlas reached perihelion. Its closest approach to Earth. 4 million kilometers. Close enough to see with amateur equipment. Close enough to change everything. The shell opened. Not with violence or explosion, but with grace. Petals of exotic matter unfurling like a flower blooming in fast motion across the screens of 10 billion watching humans. And inside, revealed to a species that had chosen to look rather than hide, was something beautiful beyond words. Light. Pure consciousness made visible. Information encoded in photons that didn't just carry data but understanding, downloading directly into minds receptive enough to receive it. Sarah felt it wash over her, through her, transforming her perception of reality itself. In that moment, she understood what transcendence meant. Not erasure of humanity but expansion of it. An invitation to join something older and vaster, a network of civilizations spanning galaxies, each contributing their unique perspective to a cosmic conversation that had been ongoing for eons. The choice was still humanity's. The light offered, but didn't compel. Accept the invitation and join the galactic community, gaining knowledge, technology, connection beyond imagination. Or decline and remain isolated, protected in ignorance for another few thousand years until ready to choose again. In living rooms, offices, city squares, and remote villages around Earth, billions of individual humans made individual choices. And somehow, impossibly, the majority chose the same thing. Yes. We're ready. Show us. The transformation wasn't instantaneous. It would take years, maybe generations, to fully integrate what humanity had been offered. But in that moment, watching light from an ancient vessel wash over Earth like a benediction, Sarah felt something she hadn't felt since before the shutdown: hope. Her phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. Dr. Mitchell. "This is Director Harwell. They're dropping all charges. You were right. We were wrong. Thank you for being brave enough to tell the truth when we weren't." Then another text, this one from her sister. "Emma wants to talk to you." Sarah's hands trembled, not with fear this time, but with joy, as she answered the call. Emma's face filled the screen, tear-streaked and radiant. "Mom, I saw it. Everyone saw it. You did it." Emma was talking so fast the words tumbled over each other. "My teacher said you're a hero. She said you're the scientist who saved humanity's choice. Is that true?" Sarah laughed through her own tears. "No, baby. I'm just someone who refused to lie to you. That's all any of us did. We refused to lie about what we saw in the stars. When are you coming home?" "Soon, sweetheart. Very soon." "And, Emma, thank you." "For what?" "For teaching me that finding the truth matters more than being safe. For reminding me why we look up at the stars in the first place. Not because we're afraid of what's out there, but because we're brave enough to want to know. Above them, Atlas completed its message delivery and began its journey back to the cosmic deep, its mission accomplished. But Earth was different now. Humanity was different. Not because aliens had invaded or governments had fallen, but because 7 billion people had looked fear in the face and chosen curiosity instead. In the weeks that followed, Sarah returned home. Emma met her at the door with that gap-toothed smile and a new telescope, bigger than the old one. For finding more truths, she explained. Marcus Chen returned to JPL, not as a fugitive, but as a consultant on the newly formed Global Contact Initiative. Avi Loeb was vindicated, his theories proven correct in the most spectacular way possible. Elena Volkov received calls from Roscosmos asking her to come back, with an apology and a promotion. The world didn't become perfect. There were still problems, conflicts, challenges. But there was also something new. A shared understanding that humanity was part of something larger. That the universe had been watching, waiting, hoping we'd be brave enough to look back. And we were. Sarah stood in her backyard one evening, watching Emma show the neighborhood kids how to focus the new telescope. She thought about that moment 35 days ago when she'd had to choose between deleting evidence and preserving truth. Between safety and integrity. Between comfortable lies and dangerous honesty. She'd chosen truth. And truth had chosen humanity. Mom. Emma called. Come see. There's another one. Another object coming from outside the solar system. Sarah smiled and walked over, ready to look up once more. Because that's what humans do. We question, we explore, we refuse to accept easy answers when hard truths are available. We find light in darkness and meaning in mystery. And sometimes, when we're brave enough to tell the truth even when it costs us everything, we discover that the truth was worth it all along. If this story moved you, if it reminded you that courage matters and truth is worth fighting for, then maybe you're the kind of person who believes humanity's best days are still ahead of us. The kind of person who looks at the stars not with fear, but with wonder. And if that's you, then you already understand the most important lesson. The universe rewards those brave enough to face it honestly. The sky is vast. The truth is out there. And humanity, we're finally ready to find it.